I would not change my children for the world, but I will change the world for them.
In the heart of Wilmington, North Carolina, is a coffee shop that's serving up more than just your average cup of joe. I hear this is the happiest place in Wilmington.
Well, we think so. Everybody that works here has a lot of joy in their hearts, and they share that with everybody that walks through the doors.
True love is in this place. God is in this place.
Brewed up by Amy Wright, along with her husband Ben, Biddy and Beau's signature blend of inclusivity, acceptance, and love is changing the public's perception of those living with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
We started the shop to create jobs for people with Down syndrome, autism, cerebral palsy, to show the world that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, their lives have just as much value as everybody else's.
You guys and Biddy and Beau's have become almost an icon and a symbol for a greater human rights movement. Did you intend to become that symbol?
We had no idea it was going to evolve into this.
3, 2, 1!
Amy always knew she wanted to have a big family and believed that dream would come true when she finally met her Mr. Wright.
You know, I knew the instant I met him that we were a match made in heaven.
The pair married, moved to New York, and made a splash on the Broadway stage before closing the curtains on their acting careers to settle into a quiet life in Amy's hometown of Wilmington, North Carolina.
When the show closed, I checked the box and I said, I got that out of my system, let's start a family. I feel like I was always just kind of searching for what was I put here to do. Being a mom was the answer to that question.
Amy gave birth to a little girl named Lily. Their second daughter, Emma Grace, wasn't far behind. And in 2005, they were elated to learn they were expecting their first baby boy.
We were over the moon, and of course you start thinking about him following in Ben's footsteps and what that's going to look like. It was 3 days later that we were at home with him and the phone rang and the doctor said he had Down syndrome. And I remember it like it was yesterday. We kind of refused to believe it because in our minds and our experience at that time, not having Down syndrome meant you were okay. We just lost it. We just cried, and there was just so much sadness at that time. We felt like we were packing away those dreams. When you think your life is going one way and it goes the other, you have to give yourself time to adjust. But having Beau was so eye-opening to us because it made us realize how very little time we had ever spent with people with disabilities.
Do you know what it was that changed your mind and your heart?
I think it was trusting that this was God's plan for us. He felt like a gift, and so the fear washed away. And we thought how blessed we were to be his parents and to be trusted with him and not see the disability and just see this child who needed love like Lily and Emma Grace did.
Beau brought the Wright family more joy than they ever could have imagined. So when they found out that Biddy, baby number 4, also had Down syndrome, their response said it all.
We were completely overjoyed. We had been through it and we knew what Down syndrome was. It wasn't scary anymore. We were joyful. Now, I guarantee you the large majority of people, if they would just spend time with somebody with Down syndrome, they would feel differently about it.
While Amy and Ben had no fear about raising 2 children with Down syndrome, they did worry about what the future might look like for Biddy and Beau.
It's estimated that 80% of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities are unemployed.
And we just said, we don't want this for our kids.
After creating employment for individuals with IDD on a smaller scale, Amy and Ben realized if they wanted to make a big impact, they had to think big. So they opened a coffee shop where all the staff, with the exception of managers, have intellectual or developmental disabilities.
Why a coffee shop?
It did seem like the perfect place of community to bring people together so that they could spend time with people with Down syndrome and autism and cerebral palsy, which is what we were all about.
And had you ever had any experience in a coffee shop, running a coffee shop, working in a coffee shop?
Nothing. We had no experience, but it didn't matter. And Ben and I have always been risk takers, and this in particular was a risk where we were like, it's worth everything to try this.
It took just 2 months for Amy to get her idea off the ground, and Beau's Coffee opened its doors in January 2016.
2 days after we opened, we had a call from the Rachel Ray Show. Fast forward, we are now her official coffee of her show. She's been instrumental in helping put us on the map early on.
Within 6 months of opening, Beau's Coffee outgrew its original location and moved into a new building 10 times its initial size. But the address wasn't the only thing to change.
We moved on Beau's birthday, and Beau said for his birthday, he wanted to see his sister's name up in lights too, and that was the perfect time to add her name to the sign. These Post-it notes are people that have visited from outside the country.
Every time I walk in the door, I feel lots of love.
I used to be shy and reserved, and I wasn't much of a people person, but now this job has helped me come out of my shell a lot, which is life-changing.
My daughter, Elizabeth, has been working here since they opened this building. She's somebody now. She's somebody.
I love it here. It's like Disney World, but free. She was the one that planted the seed in me to realize that I had a calling to inspire people and love people. I always knew it, but I didn't know how.
Whatever background a person may have, it should never be a deterrent to what they can achieve.
We should all have a place where we go and feel good about ourselves.
Our slogan is changing the way people see other people, and they are doing just that.
In 2017, Amy was named the CNN Hero of the Year, for which she received $100,000, helping the Wrights open their second location in Charleston, South Carolina, followed by a third in Savannah, Georgia.
The ultimate goal is one day, Biddy and Beau's Coffee is part of the fabric of every other coffee shop environment that exists in our country. And so the need for Biddy and Beau's Coffee might not even exist. I think God created me with the ability to do what I'm doing now, and I'm just gonna keep trying to use what I've been given to shine a spotlight on these individuals that have been in the shadows for so long.
What does your perfect world look like?
It is love.
If this modern hero inspires you, please share. And don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. To donate to Biddy and Beau's Coffee, go to www.biddyandbeauscoffee.com.